I know that this life will test you in ways that you never saw coming. It will drag you through the fire, strip away your pride, and make you feel like your very existence is non-important. There is a pain that most of us men can't even fathom. Every sleepless night that you're having, every tear you've swallowed in silence, and every moment that you've sat in the dark thinking you don't matter, those are the moments that is shaping you into someone that will become unstoppable. It's not just sadness or anger. It's the heavy emptiness that fills our chests, the weight of overdue bills, the kind that keeps you up at night, counting down to the next phone call from the debt collector, or maybe you just walked out of a horrible divorce or some sort of breakup, and now what used to be a filled, warm home is now quiet, a little bit too quiet. The person who brought you happiness and joy is now gone, and the silence is so loud it's almost suffocating. You look into the mirror and you don't even recognize the person staring back at you. And then there's the holiday loneliness, watching people post what's going on with their families and their loved ones while you're sitting there in your own silence, feeling alone and empty. You start to believe that maybe you are different and that you don't belong. That's how the enemy works. He isolates you, whispers in your ear, and makes you think that no one cares, that you'll never get out of your current situation. He wants you to think that your pain is permanent. But let me tell you something, that is far from the truth. I know what it feels like to want to end the torment of the voices in your mind. I've been there before. There was a time when I thought that checking out was the only option. I realized that the pain I felt wasn't proof that I was weak. It was proof that I was far more alive than I could ever imagine. The world wants us to believe that your value comes from your circumstances, how much money you make, how many people love you, how normal you seem. But those are all superficial lies. Your value does not come from what's outside of you. I had to learn this the hard way. You don't need perfect conditions in order to change your life. Sometimes it's as small as deciding to wake up one more day. Don't underestimate the power of small steps. In a year, those steps can add up to a life you didn't think was possible. In order for this to occur, I need you to have faith over fear. When everything is falling apart, it seems like faith is the hardest thing to hold on to. Trust me, I've been there. I know what it's like to sit in the dark, questioning why you're even here. It's those moments that faith becomes your weapon. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to believe that there's something bigger than your pain, something stronger than your circumstances. I had to learn that faith isn't about ignoring reality. It's about trusting that reality can change for me. Don't let temporary storms drown your permanent purpose. The storm might be loud in your current situation, but storms don't last forever. For me, leaning into faith was like giving myself permission to hope again. And without hope, life seems impossible to endure. When you're struggling, the first thing that we tend to do is go into isolation, because isolation feels like that's the only option for us. You convince yourself that no one understands you, that no one wants to hear your problems, and that you're better off dealing with it alone. That's exactly what the enemy wants. He uses isolation to drown you in shame and convince that you don't deserve connections. None of us can do this thing called life alone. When I was at my lowest, I didn't want to reach out to anyone. I didn't want people to know personal information about me because I felt embarrassed, and I didn't want people to judge me either. But the truth is, one phone call saved my life. Sometimes you don't need an entire army. You just need one person who's willing to listen. Stop letting pride or fear keep you from reaching out. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or even a stranger, connection is what reminds us we're human. When life feels like it's spiraling out of control, the first instinct for most of us is to freeze. You get paralyzed by the weight of everything that's wrong, and it feels impossible to know where to start. But here's the key. Don't try to fix everything all at once. Focus on what's right in front of you at that moment. When I was buried in debt and I used to stare at bills for hours, overwhelmed and defeated, I told myself that my mental health score was far more important than my credit score. So I temporarily blocked debt collectors, focus on mentally improving, and also focus on finding financial stability so that way I can pay off what I did owe. And let's talk about your mind. What are you feeding it every day when you're in your current situation? Are you scrolling through social media comparing your worst moments to someone else's highlight reels? Are you listening to music or news that keeps you sad and depressed? I know that sad music can make you feel an overwhelming sense of emotion that feels good in a strange way. But I encourage you to fill that with music that speaks life into your soul. Small changes, even 5 minutes of motivation in the morning, can rewire the way you see the world and yourself. You are not a mistake, and you are not your current situation. Homeless, sleeping in your car, that's not who you are. That's just where you are. I've seen people go from rock bottom to places they never dreamed of because they refuse to let their situation define them. Your next opportunity, your next breakthrough, it could be one step away, but you would never know if you give up now. You have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. It's not about ignoring the hardships that you're currently in. It's about refusing to let those hardships make you tap out on life. You are stronger than you think. Every small action, every ounce of faith, every moment of connection, it all adds up. Keep showing up. The version of you on the other side of this storm is going to look back at today and thank you for not giving up.